Oh boy. Greetings and salutations, friends. Hello. Consider this your bonus ArchCast of the week, as, you know what, normally, an article like this, in all its ridiculous length and verbosity and non-pointedness, would be ideal video fodder, but you know what? I just started looking at this, and I scrolled, and I scrolled, and I scrolled, and I read snippets of this pointless absurdity, and I could feel the headache sitting in, okay? So you know what? No, I am not going to inflict this pain upon myself. I am going to inflict this pain upon you, okay? You should be grateful. I see all the other streamers do this, where they stream articles and talk about them and share their suffering with other people. Well, I want to be one of those, goddammit. I don't want to have a headache today. At least not yet. God help me. Why play a fascist? Unpacking the hideousness of the Space Marine. Oh boy. We are going to be unpacking for a while, I imagine. As the worst part of all of this 5,000 word article, is that it could be summarized in a single sentence. Space Marines are fascists. Therefore, Space Marines are bad. And people who like them are bad. That's it. That's the article. There's nothing additional to it. There is no qualifying statements. There is no evidence brought forth. There is no definition of fascism. There is no extrapolation or expansion upon this. It's merely just, they dress weird, I don't like them, therefore you're a space Nazi. Pretty much. That is all it is. Oh, YouTube is doing its thing? Yeah, just refresh. It's YouTube. It happens. It's just YouTube. Everything seems to be streaming all right on my end, so I want to begin with this man's picture. Can I? I mean, listen, I'm the last guy on earth to criticize someone over appearances, particularly when it comes to, you know, massive foreheads. I've certainly got a case of that myself, but as I swallow my own tongue, this is the man who's calling you a fascist. Well, now at least we know how the Antifa of 1940 lost the street fight, I guess. In order to make Warhammer 40,000 Space Marines 2 enjoyable, Saber Interactive had to make the Space Marines less like Space Marines. I just want to open up the thing here. So, Space Marine 2 got a lot of credit for being a damn good game, and by and large, it is a damn good game. But I do want to point out there are some definitive wokeist elements in there. There is some surface level stuff that by and large you can simply ignore because it's not overpowering. It doesn't take anything over. But Saber Interactive's staff are most assuredly not on board with this. The fact that Space Marine 2 was a good game is a little bit of a miracle, as we will see throughout this. So, to make Space Marine 2 a fun video game, they had to make the Space Marines less Space Marine-y. Off to a good start immediately. That is to say, less like semi-lobotomized, hypnotical, indoctrinated slave soldiers enthralled to an uncaring and possibly non-existent god, in the words of Rick Priestley. Now, some of you may know Rick Priestley. Rick Priestley used to work at Games Workshop. In fact, he was one of the founding minds behind Warhammer Fantasy way back in the day. He also made 40k Rogue Trader. Rick Priestley has next to nothing to do with the modern-day incarnation of Space Marines. And even by the original one, this is a retarded description. Semi-lobotomized, hypnotically indoctrinated slave soldiers enthralled to an uncaring and possibly non-existent god. See, Because again, it misses all of the rationale for that. Semi-lobotomized, not really. Hypnotically indoctrinated. Well, yes, like the majority of things, they are pumped through full of indoctrination doctrine via hypnotic therapy, because they've only got a couple of years until they need to be combat ready. Hell, years, months in essence. And slave soldiers, as opposed to what? Becoming a Space Marine is an honor. It is a glorious thing. It is viewed as a thing to rejoice at. And slaves, what, they are bound by oaths of loyalty? Is that slavery now? Well, in the modern mind, I do suppose. In the modern mind of the ever-free, I have no obligations, I have no bonds, I have no duties, I have no nothing, I suppose an obligation to protect humanity against ass-raping Xenos devils and Tyranids might seem like slavery. It is the purest Kuma doctrine imaginable, where there is nothing greater than yourself. Your entire being is merely in existence to jerk yourself off and then pass out until you can masturbate some more. A slave. Ew. An uncaring and possibly non-existent god, an uncaring god, the god emperor. You mean, oh, hold on, let me just get this correct. The uncaring god you're referring to is the man who suffers through unimaginable torment for every minute, every second of every day, of every week, of every month, of every year, for 10,000 years, just to keep the dream of humanity alive, just to allow humanity to continue to exist as a nation, to prevent humanity to be thrown back into the darkness of old night. That uncaring God. The Emperor protects is not an idle phrase. In Warhammer 40K, supposedly satirically, definitively grimdark Imperium of Man, okay, you know what? People have been asking me, can't you do a video on why 40K is not satire? And you know what? Initially, I was like, no. Because there is nothing to debate here. There is nothing to discuss. There is nothing to explain. 40K is not satire because it is not fit for the purpose of satire. The very definition of satire is to criticize something. If the thing you are criticizing, the survival of humanity in this case, is necessary for, again, the survival of fucking humanity, then it is a good thing and not open to be critiqued. If you cannot critique a thing as negative and instead you turn it into a positive, it is not satire, by the very definition of the term satire. But you know what? Fine. We will do it. We will go through the reasons, the most important of which is to actually define satire, because far too many people seem to think that satire is simply exaggerating something, or they get stuck up on the various linguistic tools or devices used to communicate satire, rather than the actual satire itself. The Space Marines are genetically engineered sons and warrior monks of the Emperor, a messianic figure reduced to a dreaming corpse on the Golden Throne. Dreaming is an optimistic interpretation, whose immense psychic emissions serve as a kind of spiritual lighthouse for interstellar travel. The Space Marines are grotesque supermen clad in motorized armor who exist to exterminate the alien, the mutant, and the unclean. They are the ultimate embodiment of patriarchal xenophobic fascism. This is a source of some irony, given that they themselves barely qualify any longer as human, according to the ideals of uncorrupted humanity they champion. Patriarchal, xenophobic fascism. Oh boy. See, this is why I didn't want to make a video on this, because there's enough to unpack just in that one single 3-word part. But, okay, xenophobic. The Imperium is not xenophobic in the slightest. The Imperium, you see, does not fear the Xenos. It exterminates the Xenos. Therefore, the Imperium is not xenophobic. And again, it completely shifts all of the onus in, who exist to exterminate the alien, the mutic, and the unclean. Oh, those space marines, they just aggress upon all the other innocent creatures in the galaxy. Oh, you know, the Emperor has been reduced to a dreaming corpse. It just happened. It just occurred. There was nothing that happened to cause this. There wasn't a, threat to life as we know it, universal existence, chaos, the powers of pure evil and satanic power, welling up and killing the Emperor by turning half his legions against him, turning what could have been a paradise for humanity into a warlocked universe that knows nothing but war for 10,000 years. No, it just happened. It occurred. God damn it. And now the Space Marines are still being mean to all of the innocent Xenos. What were the Xenos doing previously, by the way? Predating upon the Imperium, shattered by Old Night, devouring them, in the case of the Tyranids, attempting to exterminate them because they feed off their fucking fear like the Necrons? God fucking damn it. Oy. And fascism, you know what? I did a whole video on this years and years ago. 4 years ago. 4 years ago, I did an hour-long video on is the 40k Imperium of Man fascist? No. Even if the 40k Imperium wished to be fascist, even if it desperately and earnestly desired to be a fascist nation, it could not be one because it is literally logistically impossible to enforce that kind of top-down control upon a galactic fucking empire. So no, it is not xenophobic and it is not fascist, but it is patriarchal, which, as we have demonstrated throughout human history, is literally the only way in which civilization proceeds beyond the point of mud huts. That headache is already beginning to set in, I feel. Give me a second. I'm going to do a couple of the super chats before we go on. We're barely a paragraph in. Stomar, he would probably call you a fascist for going to the gym. He can't beat you if you're stronger than him. That individual certainly does look like he thinks that the gym is rather oppressive, I will say. Mercer Holt, how long till these sites go broke again? Also, if a Marxist called you a fascist, take it as a compliment. Yes, Mercer Holt, thank you for the 50. Reverend Norse, they dress in a way I don't like, therefore fascist. Yes, that is the Starship Trooper. So Starship Troopers all over again, correct. They need to watch your excellent Is the Imperium Man Fascist video or read a non-communist book. Or simply just develop a definition of fascism. That would do. And yes, we are going to actually get a definition of fascism. I'll give you 3 guesses as to which one he uses. It's Italian. Empty Veins, hey Arch, check out the sci-fi book series Galaxy's Edge. It's kind of Starship Troopers old Star Wars mashup with a pinch of psychological horror. That does sound intriguing. Shadowfox2300, hey Bart, quick thing you see the video of Major Kill on the AI lore video. What do you think about it? Sounds like he's afraid to be replaced. He used the Lotra lore channel, and it seems okay to me. Video of Major Kill on the AI lore videos. So you're afraid to be replaced. He used the Lotara lore channel. It seems okay to me. I have no idea about that. I don't view Major Kill as a particularly reliable source or next to anything, frankly. He's a screaming comedian, not a particularly lore expert individual, and I certainly will not trust his take on anything so complex as artificial intelligence. Jazuka Taizago. Everyone, switch to 480p. It seems to work fine. YouTube is having a moment. Guile Guy 52, this kind of anti-human bullshit is why I have come to enjoy the unapologetic pro-human FY humanity fuck yeah, I'm presuming, genre. Yes, humanity fuck yeah is a guilty pleasure of me as well. And here's the thing as well. You know what? We need, and I think we have already arrived at a point here, where instead of... the thing is, he merely asserts things. Oh, it's fascist. Okay. Now, we could, as I've done already, delve into an hour-long explanation of why that is not the case, how it is in fact impossible for it to be that way. But no, let's not do that. Just like with the satire argument, you simply say, no, you're dumb. Fuck you. That's it. That's it. And when he asks the question, why play a fascist? You just lean in, you look him in the eyes, and you say, because you don't like it. It is high time that we simply stop being morally browbeat and blackmailed by this generation of limp-wristed, soy-devouring fucktards who don't even understand the definition of the words they are using beyond their potential application as moral cudgel. It's very hard to imagine how they live their lives. Space Marine 2's creative director Oliver Hollis-Leck told me in an interview shortly after the Suture launched in September. They're so far from our daily lives and concerns, and we had to find a way to bridge that extreme mentality with something more human that could be connected to by fans, by audience, by players, so that we could actually make sense of their story rather than just being fanatical killing machines because it's too hard to like those characters. Is it though? Is it though? Okay. Is that the humanization of the Space Marines misses the point of the Space Marines? Is there anyone who played Space Marine 2 and are like, oh gosh, the in-depth story of Asian Space Marine side character really brought a tear to my eye? No, you're a fucking Space Marine. You're not playing out some great Shakespearean story here. You're not engaging in Greek drama. You're a blue demigod that steps on necks and crushes Chaos corpses. That's it. Chaos has a thing. It's the plot from Space Marine 1 again. There are bad things, there are hordes of them. You've got to beat the shit out of them. Then Chaos comes in and go, my evil plan! And then you beat the shit out of them too. It is infinitely more recognizable and identifiable than your nonsensical ideas of, oh gosh, we just need to make them human. Nah, I just want to be a demigod killing shit, for fuck's sake. In particular, of course, Saber wanted you to like the Space Marine under your control, protagonist Demetrius Titus and his subordinates Chiron and Gadriel. Together, says Hollis-Leck, the trio form a window into the difficult life of a Space Marine, where there's a threat of corruption on every side. It is a real threat, and you have to be firm and unwavering, and then if you get on the right side of them, there is this absolute brotherhood and sacrifice that you get from it. Without spoiling too much, there is mistrust within the team. Chiron and Gadriel suspect Titus of being tainted by the swirling cosmic realm of chaos, a seedbed for demons and sorcery. But the game tempers their zealotry, both in terms of plot, which as you'd expect from an action game, mires them in the moment of battle with overwhelming swarms of insect monsters, and in terms of how they talk. So the talk part of that is interesting, because they didn't really, do that much with their zealotry. They still suspect Titus, because once you are suspected of taint, you will always be suspected of taint. I don't care how many years you serve in the Death Watch. I don't care how many glorious deeds you commit. Chaos is insidious, and once it has its hooks in you, it never lets go. So it is only natural to suspect the brand new sergeant you're given with a dark past. Hollis-Leck and narrative director Craig Sherman pushes back on some of the do's and don'ts they received from Games Workshop about Space Marine vocabulary. They deviated from the suggested phraseology to make Titus and his comrades sound less strange and antiquated. Bear that in mind. Less like Spanish Inquisition and more like soldiers from real-world present-day militaries. No. Here's Games Workshop. Okay, so the Space Marines, there's warrior knights in space, okay? These are ultramarines. They're like Roman warrior knights in space. They've got a very clear flavor to them. They speak archaically, old-fashioned, that's the feel of them. It's like, well, that's not very human, isn't it? They need to speak more like modern soldiers, but they're not fucking modern soldiers, are they? There's a line in game where Acheron says, company dismissed, and they really wanted me to change that to, brothers, attend your duties. Is that not vastly superior to company dismissed? Company dismissed is, It is cold. It is impersonal. It holds no weight of personality. It's certainly not ultramarine, nor is it space marine, nor is it 40k. It is simply just a flat blanket military term. But brothers, attend to your duties is a way better way of saying that. It is much better. It is far superior 40k-esque. And that was changed. You're going to have to refresh the stream, by the way. Everything is streaming fine on my end. It's just YouTube being YouTube. Let me just double check. Yeah, nothing's taking up any bandwidth here. So it's just YouTube being YouTube. But it's 3 words instead of 1. Company dismissed. It's 3 words instead of 1. I'm not the best mathematicians in the world, but I don't... And if that model was applied to all of the language in the game, I really strongly felt that people wouldn't get it. If we put too much Warhammer in our Warhammer game, people won't get the Warhammerness. So, this leads me back to the recent success of Deadpool and Wolverine, right? Deadpool and Wolverine was an enormous success. And throughout the movie, Deadpool makes the joke. Throughout the Deadpool movies, in fact, he makes the joke that maybe you shouldn't be ashamed to be a superhero movie, right? They even make this joke in the new X-Men 97 cartoon even, when they show Cable their X-Men suit, their actual yellow X-Men suit, and he goes like, oh, yellow spandex? And Scott turns to him and was like, well, yeah, we're superheroes. What were you expecting, black leather? Because that was in the first X-Men movies, like yellow spandex. Because, yes, this is the problem. These motherfuckers who have no actual understanding of the thing they are making is like, oh, cringe, Space Marines being Space Marines. Ah, yucky. No, we are adult entertainment makers here, I'll have you know. We're artistes. Oh, no.
Heresy's the question.
Like, they're literally ashamed of trying to make superhero movies. They're ashamed of making Space Marines. Meanwhile, the actual audience is like, fuck yeah, Space Marines! It's saying something about how accustomed I am to the ostensibly parodic figure of the Space Marine being portrayed as a hero that I didn't really question this desire to make you like and get the fanatical killing machines at the time. Like, this thing too, you don't need to like them. You need to... This is a thing that left simply cannot do. It cannot simply take its own morality, put it in a jar, and place it somewhere else for the time being. Everything must be current year gayness. Everything has to be the now politics. Oh, but they kill aliens. Isn't that xenophobic? Yeah, but the aliens tried to suck their souls out through their fucking assholes, so maybe they're justified. So, like and get the... To be clear, I don't think Saber are deliberately and consciously trying to kindle empathy for literal fascist enforcers in Space Marine 2. What are they fascists for? What are the Ultramarines in Space Marines 2 enforcing? Seriously, serious question. What are the Space Marines in Ultramarine 2? Close enough. What are the Space Marines in Space Marine 2 enforcing? What are they enforcing, rock, paper, shotgun? What are they defending against, rock, paper, fucking shotgun? An invasion of tyrannids and chaos. Those goddamn fascist enforcers are making it so that I can stay alive and not be eaten or turned into a slavering fucking chaos demon. Ah, woe is me. You're making a fine argument for fascism. Truly, you are. Much of the above reasoning is grounded in ostensibly neutral, best practical questions of craft and characterization. Still, it would have been useful to dig into what it means to make Space Marines likable, because Warhammer 40k today has an issue with certain groups of players. Hi there. Actually, hold on. I was waiting for this. I was waiting for the pivot towards Space Marines are fascists, and therefore you're fashion. I was waiting for this. Hold on. Excusez-moi. certain groups of players actively identifying with them. Exactly how far this extends is unclear, but the game's fascist subculture is significant enough that Games Workshop have felt moved to publish statements disavowing outright bigots and reminding the tabled community the imperium of man is a send-up of fascism, of empire and murders patriarchs, not an endorsement. Well, I'll have to agree to disagree with that one. The company's outspokenness is praiseworthy, and there's the argument that much of this is out of their hands. That is correct, because they themselves no longer understand their very own setting, as demonstrated by constantly mistaking the fucking Ultramarines for Night Lords, for example, because they're both blue. Every community harbors extremists who read against the grain, but Games Workshop are also guilty of hypocrisy here, in that modern-day Warhammer 40,000 is a far cry from the satire it once claimed to be. Correct. 40k is no longer satire. Back in the 1980s, Warhammer 40k could have been called counterculture. Could it? I don't know about that. It's a loopy ur-fascist universe, and there we go. Here's the definition. Let me take this off before I get reported for it. A Prussian guard helmet, incidentally, in case you were wondering. Prussians were not fascists, incidentally as well, just in case. Here we go. What definition are we going to use? It's Umberto fucking Eco. Of course, it's Umberto goddamn Eco, the man with the broadest definition of fascism ever imagined. Here, let me go find Umberto Eco's definition of fascism for you. There we go. The 14 points of fascism. Here you are. A culture of tradition. Having traditions, fascism. The rejection of modernism. The rejection of progressivism, forever progressing, fascism. The cult of action for action's sake. Doing something, fascism. Disagreement, fascism. Fear of difference, fascism. Appeal to social frustration. Hey, your grocery cart has doubled in price. You're paying way too much for groceries. I can fix this. Fascism. The obsession with a plot. Looking at current day America. Pacifism is trafficking with the enemy. I mean, that's the closest thing he actually comes to an actual thing that is relevant to fascism, as fascism does require an external enemy, and usually therefore a war with that enemy. Contempt for the weak. Show me a human civilization outside the last, 50 years, I guess, that hasn't had contempt for the weak. Oh, well, a couple hundred at least, I guess. Everybody is educated to become a hero. Oh no. Masochism and weaponry. Being a man. As all men like macho shit and guns. Selective populism and ur-fascism speak newspeak. Hello, wokeists. Cisgendered heteronormative males. By this definition, I mean, hell, most of the countries on Earth can be argued to be fascist at this point. Most of the political organizations on Earth, the Democrats most assuredly so, is fascists. This is a worthless definition of fascism, as it also misses the singular point of fascism, which is power. Centralized absolute authority. It doesn't even fucking mention it. It doesn't even touch upon it. The most central, key defining feature of fascism is the Führer, the leader, the absolute master at the top, directing the machinery of state, which is also a key feature point of communism, mind you, in essence. Everything, and of course, him being an embodiment of that state. The state is the Führer is the state, or Il Duce, or what's the dumbass Spanish word for it with Franco? I can't remember now. That is fascism. State worship. Everything inside the state, nothing outside the state. He doesn't even mention it. Umberto Eco is a hack and an Italian. Universe, a warping of Thatcherite Britain and the Cold War. I don't know about that either. Its artworks and characterization subversive in their feckleness, jamming to their devices from 2000 AD, Milton and Dune. And that is a far more accurate description. It could be counterculture. It was Thatcherite. And discussing the stat. No, it wasn't. We've even had the actual authors themselves go, yeah, we didn't know any about this shit. We were a bunch of fucking kids in our basements. We just borrowed everything we could. You know, the Arbites, 2000, God Emperor, Dune, Space Marines, Heinlein. We just kind of picked all of the things we liked and just like yumble them together in a little ball and called it fun. The license holders have often softened and consolidated the wackier elements in order to make Warhammer 40k more sellable. A gradual mainstreaming that has transformed the Space Marines, in particular from a crazed, distorted thug, into a stoical, comradely, and devoted necessary evil pitched against a galaxy of apocalyptic terrors. Exactly. A necessary evil pitched against a galaxy of kill me now. Apocalyptic. And it should be kill me now. Apocalyptical. My brain is already hurting. Moving on. In 2023, the writer and designer Tim Caldwell published a comprehensive account of 140,000's reverential militarism and Now I'm going to do it to myself. Apocalyptical. Where does the P come in? Where does the P come in? Fascist sentiments have slowly overgrown the more whimsical and pluralistical aspects of this science fiction setting. So, this is an article that you've probably seen. Satire without purpose will wander in dark places. It's a retarded article that should be outright dismissed because it too does not understand the purpose of satire. You cannot simply say it was satire, therefore it must now be satire. That is not the case. 40k was once satirical, at the very least in some basic aspect, and even then not very well, but today it is not satire. That does not make it an endorsement of anything, as you yourself say, necessary evil. That's the key phrase there. Making it not be satirical does not then make it an endorsement of the necessary evil. He discussed how the Space Marine Games Workshop best-selling miniatures has matured from a jackbooted bully into the doughty and dogmatic paladins we see in Space Marine 2, and down with a tactical aesthetic ready-made for modern third-person shooters. I do fucking hate that, though, mind you. Which cleaves away from the colorful exaggeration of the 1980s and much closer to the real-world military gear of Special Forces operators. Absolutely, and that is a bad thing. The Space Marines are supposed to be knights in space, not fucking tack-op dudes in rounded gear. Ugh. Let me have another brief break to read something that is in this article. Pseudo Firewater for $20 or a rumble. A super for Ninua and Fascismus. Also Dev putting out the pro-Democrat video for Ragebait after saying there are no good options this time around. Bucky called it. Bucky did indeed call it. Right, another donation for Ninua from RG's comic for the sexy calendar. We'll note that down. Let's see. Where were we on the Streamlabs? God damn it, stop. YouTube is being wonky on the back end too. Roblox623, I'll agree to it being satire if they will then acknowledge that the satire rests on the Tau being commie progs. We only want to coexist, just let us control every factor of your life and being. Razvan Constantine has been for 16 months. Thank you very much for your long-term support, sir. Morning there, Arch and Chat. I'm off to work. I'll try to catch up on the VOD. Have fun ripping to shreds this ridiculousness. Thank you. And Chambers00 with this first super chat. Thank you very much, sir. I swear, we can literally be at the brink of extinction, and these assholes will still try to guilt trip us for being violent. Not just overly violent, but just being violent. Yes, it is because the left have a pathological out-group preference. They would, like literally, they are literally in a situation where if a fucking tiger is eating them, they will root for the tiger, okay? We can see this in, oh god. Hold on, I need to bring up this article again. There we go. There we go. I rest my fucking case. I rest my case, Your Honor. The prosecution has no further evidence. NW Balls, we don't say shut up, retard, enough. We do not, no. We need to say it loudly and frequently. Yes. Ashkor, I fully admit I'm a Warhammer tourist, but I don't push my ideas into Warhammer nor wish to change the law for personal reasons. And it is fine to be a Warhammer tourist. There's nothing wrong with being that. Although, I will say, the definition of a tourist is actually the opposite of that. The definition of a tourist is somebody who enters into a space and attempts to change it for external reasons. What you are is simply a noob or a dude visiting. That's fine. That doesn't even make you a tourist. ShadowFox2300, my bad, March. I was asking about your opinion on AI lore channels. I was just using his videos and the Lotra lore channel as an example. Okay. My opinion on AI lore videos. I don't see anything inherently wrong with it. I do object to the usage of, people's voices to do it. There was the Attenborough lore channel. I don't like that. I find that suspect because now you are using somebody's trademark, in essence. You are using David Attenborough, right? You're using his voice to protect your work. That I don't like. Just instinctually, I don't like that. It's like, you're making the video. You should be presenting it, using another person's voice for it, and especially without, permission, etc. I don't like that. I do not like that at all. Merely using an AI voice, however, yeah, okay, so what? You made it, now you have a neutral voice presenting it. Now you could then argue that you'd have the artificial advantage of a female voice, for example. And absolutely, there is an argument to be made there. The, what is it? Was it the Templin Institute? They used to have a chick doing most of their voice acting because it is scientifically proven that men will listen more to a woman than they will to a male voice. But, okay, it's just a tool. I'm not particularly worried about it either, as at the end of the day, you still need to actually produce the lore video. Now, having the lore video itself, written by the AI, okay, we're heading towards fairly lazy territory now, but, at that point, it's the marketplace of ideas, isn't it? If lazy content will trump actually written content, well, shit. That's not a good thing. But that, I guess, just means that everybody else writing were too lazy. Silencio Steve, blip, and for 40 months, thank you. Rumble63, with them wanting words being changed, they want to remove soul and gravitas from the setting. Space Hulk Deathwing dialogue was awesome for it. Yes, removing the soul from the setting, that is a good point. Control Dim, 10 plus, refresh and reboot, I'll catch the VOD Witcher. God damn it. Witcher's already funded, Control Dim. It's funded, it's done, you've got it. It's Bacon Slayer, Bacon, thank you. Sky of the Strange. They wouldn't make fascism look so good if they weren't so cringe about it. Yes. I mean, one of the big reasons why the right wing is becoming so resurgent is because the left cannot stop fucking pissing itself. The Dodgy UK. Would the Native American tribe be fascist after looking at the bullet points? Oh, Abso-goddamn-lutely. Reverence of tradition, fear of the other, xenophobic hatred of other, war against everybody else. No, Native American Indians would be the most fascist thing ever. And Tennille 89, aka dislikes puns. 40k is no more satire than Game of Thrones. Not everything is allegory. Seeing parallels is only valuable if there's actually patterns and you draw the correct conclusions. Somehow I doubt these articles are made by the gifted. Oh, absolutely. It's like Fight Club. Fight Club. There are many people on the left arguing that Fight Club is an anti-patriarchal argument. You know, the movie where hyper-masculinity comes to the fore, where Tyler Durden literally goes like, we are a generation of men raised by women. Is more women really what we need? It is, it is not an anti-patriarchal thing at all. It's a little bit anarchist, absolutely, but it's quite anarchist actually, but even more so, it is masculine. It is the search for inherent male purpose, beyond the feminine, beyond the IKEA catalogue. It is a struggle to rediscover what it is to be a male. And yes, there are destructive elements of that as well, because that is the role of the male. It is to protect, it is to fight, and it is to secure. That is our genetic purpose. And the fact that we have become so successful at it now that we don't need to do it anymore has both upsides and definite downsides. As Cowell notes, one outcome of making Space Marines more like real-world soldiers, I hate that, is that Warhammer 40k has become more appealing to the actual military institutions that have often proved to be allies or spawning grounds of fascists. Source? Unironically, source. Source on that, please, source. Give me a source on that one, would you, please? Because the Wehrmacht was an explicitly non-political organization after the First World War. It prided itself on being a non-political organization. Il Duce didn't come from the army, he came from fucking propaganda. He ran a newspaper before the war. His only connection to the army was having served in it, the same as Hitler. Like, even Franco, why was Franco wasn't even the leader of the fucking fascists, goddammit. He became their de facto leader during and after the Spanish Civil War. The only connection here that fascism has to military is that fascism goes, hey, I want a strong military. And the military goes, wait, you want to give us money? Oh, cool. Again, by this definition, every military is fascist. And also, like, really, you think 40k didn't already have a fan base about people who liked military shit? You really... Sorry, oh yes, 40k wasn't particularly popular amongst people who liked strategy and military stuff, but the moment we rounded their armor some more, suddenly people started liking us. Ugh. He comments scathingly on the present United States Armed Forces recruit at Warhammer 40k tournaments. The United States Armed Forces has presence at the Pride Parade, for fuck's sakes. They are everywhere and anywhere they think that young people will be. That is their gosh darn duty. He is simply unimpressed by the recent diversity washing of this setting's Übermensch. Now there we can agree. In Space Marine 2, Chiron and Garel are of non-white ethnicity, much to the chagrin of certain reactionary Warhammer players. And my Games Workshop efforts to market this most vicious of fables to younger teenagers and children, even as older enthusiasts show up to events in Nazi regalia, or cheekily portray a noted Hitler sympathizer. Sure. Donald Trump as a present-day God Emperor. Oh, this, by the way, this is in reference to... The Austrian painter, the one and singular example they still have of this, the one time in Spain that somebody showed up with Spanish fascist iconography and going, well, it's clearly infested with nothing but fascists. I don't know about that. I can mention a couple of 40k fandom groups like Feminist 40k, for example, or 40k groups that outright worship chaos as communist and so on. Or, Sig-Marxism. I think there's a hell of a lot more communist organizations in 40k, unfortunately, than fascist ones. Colwell's appraisal of Warhammer 40,000's gradual grim darkening. I don't think he read much 40k. To be read alongside Susan Song's essays Fascinating Fascism. See, 40k has not been growing more grim-dark. It went more grim-dark with 2nd and 3rd edition 40k. Then it stagnated into that grim-dark setting for a good, 20, 30 years. The good old days. And ever since, it's growing less grimdark. It hasn't been going grimdark, it's been going hope punk, and I hate the fact that it is. Which explores the cultural industry that serves as a laundering apparatus for shitty ideas, reintroducing verboten people and things by means of an insinuative process, or waiting for cycles of taste to distill out the controversy. Now, this is an interesting point. The argument here, in essence, is that if you keep reiterating fascist talking points, and by fascist we mean anything not left-wing, then they will slowly become more culturally acceptable. See, here's the thing. This isn't the case. This is not the case at all. The anti-racist movement, for example, in the late 90s and 2000s, had arrived at the point where racism was considered eradicated. It was gone. It was done with. It was an idea of yesteryears. It was something considered morally repugnant by everyone, to the point that when the left arrived on scene and went, oh hey, this is a fine weapon, you're a racist, and cancelled people, got them fired from their jobs, got them yeeted from their social lives, and socially isolated them with a single accusation, even without proof. That is how powerful the hatred of racists were. The very idea had become anathema to modern society. The only reason why it is resurgent today via memes and jokes is because you couldn't fucking shut up about it. It is the left that has done this. It is not a gradual reintroduction of ideas that are anathema. It is the left being so utterly repugnantly, intrinsically asshole-ish about it. It is the left going racist for a decade that is now making people go, you know what? Fuck you, I hate you, shut up and leave me alone. That is not fascism making it that way. That is your nagging ass making it that way. And you don't need to write an essay to explain it. It's like, if you tell a child, hey honey, can you please, take the dishes out of the washing machine? The kid will probably go, okay mom, and then you go like, no, take the dishes out. Suddenly the child will turn to you and go, make me. That's what you're doing. In the course of what is technically a product review. See, reviews are allowed to be political. Sontag touched on the various means by which Nazi art especially has become acceptable as museum pieces, as pop motif, as kink. The knowing and sniggering attachment of sophisticated pissing about with tropes, an obstinate escapist inclination to divorce art from its political context and enjoy it for itself. Again, I don't even think that's the case. Now, to a degree, yes, we can look at the Nazi uniforms and go, they're pretty slick. And we can enjoy that without going, yeah, but they were worn by Nazis. I know, I'm just saying the uniforms were slick. What's your problem? Your problem is the need to connect everything, to tie all of the things together, to go like, what, you like the Stahlhelm? Yeah, it's a fucking awesome piece of equipment. Holy shit, we're copying it in modern day armies. It looks rad to, oh, you must like Hitler. Oh, excuse me? That's the problem. Again, as I just said, it is the left that is doing this. Recently echoed in Saber Interactive CEO Matthew Card's grumbling over games that impose morals on players.
Fire is the answer.
A delight in breaking taboos. In the case of the Nazi filmmaker Leni Riefenstahl, a desire to reclaim a prominent female art for feminism? I don't know what that is about. But yes, You should not impose morals on players. It is fine to have entertainment be entertainment. Not everything has to be political. In fact, it would be very, very preferable if most things were not. I think you see a similar blend of ironical enjoyment, fetishization, and questionable progressive politicking in how Warhammer 40k has evolved since the debut of the Tabletop's Wargames first miniatures and rulebook. One thing I read between the lines of Colwell's piece is the risk of intolerance bred by the increasing consistency and professionalization of Warhammer 40k as fiction. The Warhammer 40,000 rulebooks are a jumble of inspirations and references: Judge Dredd, Warhammer Fantasy, Battle, Rogue Trader, Rogue Trooper? Oh, that one. And much more besides. As Colwell explores, the later editions have standardized the writing and aesthetics of Warhammer 40k. Yes, it has become its own thing. Even as the setting has swelled in the hands of spin-off novelists, artists, and animators, a tabletop universe based around improvisational painting and fan storytelling has become a canon that, in the case of Space Marine 2, obliged Saber to haggle with Games Workshop over everything from the spacing of rivets on power armor to how exactly Space Marines should walk, jog, and run. Yes. And this is a good thing. It was once a clump of inspiration that has now become its own thing. This is how we used to develop things. This is how we created superheroes from inspirations of Greek myths. This is how we created cartoons. This is how we created 40k. It's how we created virtually everything. Everything new is inspired by the past. And then, once they become sufficiently solidified, the uniqueness can then grow. Tolkien did the same with The Lord of the Rings, taking enormous inspiration from mythology and then slapping it all together and then nurturing it, growing it until it became something new. This is how a new thing is created. It can be pleasing to inhabit a fiction where all the pieces are smoothly bolted together, working in lockstep, but teaching people to favor the consistency of imaginary worlds may also teach them to vilify disagreement and the entire practice of interpretation. There is no such thing as interpretation for interpretation's sake. See, here's the thing. This is the same as the death of the author. If I hold up a glass, this is a glass. You cannot interpret it differently. Well, I suppose you could interpret it as a metaphor right now, but you get my general drift. This is a glass. Now, if a communist then comes up to you and says, no, it's a duck,
heresy is the question.
he has every power to do that, but it doesn't make it true. You have to temper interpretation with reality. See, it's a wonderful irony where it's like, oh, you're escaping into fiction. You shouldn't do that. We've got to enforce the real world upon you. Like, no. Because my fiction is separate from your real world. My fiction is as valid as your real world in its own context. Therefore, you are not going to interpret my Space Marine as communists. Stop it. At its nastiest, the mentality both facilitates and camouflages bigotry. There we go. Take the backlash against the concept of female Space Marines. Oh, right, of course, female Space Marines. I forgot about that one. Of course. You can't have an article without it. The Space Marine recruits are all cisgender men. Remember Umberto Eco's definition of fascism with Newspeak? Is a commercial accident. No, it's not. Accident. See, that's the thing. Commercial accident. No. The Space Marines were male. They have always been male. There have never been female Space Marine models. Never, ever, at any point in 40k's long history. There have never been female Space Marine models. Even the ones that are usually trotted out are sisters of battle, goddammit. It even says so on the fucking models themselves, goddammit. And the usually trotted out excuse that, oh, we were totally thinking of doing male and female, but, every time we sent our female models to the stores went, these don't sell. Stop sending them. We want more male ones. It is not an accident. That is a reaction to the market. Simple as. The market went, female warrior models, they don't sell that much, so can you not send those? Oh, okay. That's the thing. It is not a commercial accident. It is a informed decision that is now canon, albeit one that speaks to the boys' club undertow of wargaming scene. Undertow? I think wargaming is about as close to a unique male thing as you'd ever find. According to Colwell, Games Workshop simply couldn't sell enough boxes of mixed-gender Space Marines. Colwell is lying, and/or you are willfully misrepresenting him. Again, there have never been female Space Marines. And rewrote the law to justify only shipping male miniatures. Yet again, incorrect. There have never been female Space Marines. And I want to reiterate this as many times as it takes, because the left continues to repeat this lie. It has never happened. They have never been made. They have never been law. They have never been miniatures. They have never existed. Nowadays, this business technicality has become an article of faith among certain male players. It has become an article of reality amongst all players, regardless of gender, which makes the introduction of a new Marine-adjacent faction of mixed-gender custodies not just an attempt to attract women to the game, but a form of heresy. Absolutely so. It is heresy, not just a form, it is heresy. It is a violation of the established law of the universe, simple as. And the backlash against it was not only massive, but 1000% justified. And 40k themselves know it is a violation of the canon, which is why they went with the gaslighting that have always been female custodies. No rationalization, no justification, no explanation, just a... yeah... it's a retcon. We've just rewritten this now. Yeah. That is all it is. All this notwithstanding, I'm not sure the mainstreaming of Warhammer 40k satire entirely explains why the setting has become so attractive to fascists that the license holders have felt moved to remind us that Warhammer 40k is supposed to be satire. You keep saying that it's moved away from being satire, just as you keep repeating that it is satire. Make up your motherfucking mind already. The reason why 40k has been urged to respond isn't because there's more fascists in 40k, it's because of you, yet again, nagging them about it, going, there are people I don't like in your setting, please get rid of them, because that is the right wing's way. That is the right wing's fascism. When the right-wing players go, no, you can't do that, that's against the law, all we do is stop doing it. Stop. Company, you're violating your own law. It is an argument made. When the left does it, it goes to the company directly and goes, please ban these people, change the law. It goes to the company. Whereas we discuss law amongst each other and then at worst give feedback to 40k via forums, these people write letters to Games Workshop. They contact their investors. They go to daddy, to the state in essence, to cancel their opposition. That has always been and will always be the primary doctrine and tactic of the current year left. The more complicated problem with Warhammer 40k is that the depictions of fascism it supposedly lampoons, the uniforms, posters, films, and other artworks that drew millions in the 1930s and 40s, are more compelling today than many anti-fascists would care to admit. Again, whose fault is that? It's dangerous, Sontag says, to reduce fascism to brutishness and terror, as opposed to fascism is divine because it offers things to aspire to. In Sontag's summary, the ideal of life as art, the cult of beauty, the fetishization of courage, the dissolution of alienation in aesthetic feelings of community. You have a... okay, so this article's definition of fascism is Umberto Eco and... the ideal of life as art, the cult of beauty, the fetishism of courage, the dissolution of alienation in an aesthetic feeling of community. Your definition of fascism is significantly more charitable than mine. I just want to point that out. These are relatively innocuous values and emotions that may also appear in, say, rock music, in superhero stories, at wargaming tournaments and sports events, and in earnest game development pains to absolute brotherhood and sacrifice. Yeah, like I said, your definition of fascism is a little bit more charitable than mine is. Anyway, let me go back to a couple of super chat again. No, it's scrolled. I hate it when it scrolls. Why must you scroll? Stop scrolling. Contra Dim. I feel better now. Team Green has a stable stream. Witcher. Thank you. And going through him. Oh, for fuck's sake, I missed the close of which to start when. Also, it's funny, YouTube is a ream red coincidence. More money to my favorite node, or put it towards Lumi. Or shall put it towards Lum then.
Heresy's the question.
Or
Fire
shall put
is
it
the
towards
answer.
the looting of the Lum with extra feet. So John, if you can't pronounce apocalyptical, you can use existential threat. Star Sector. I can it now. I was doubling up on the P for reasons I can't quite understand. Scarf of the Strange. Men are the Thunder Warriors being purged. I mean, it's a better analog than anything this guy's come up with. The Neil89, aka Dislikes Puns. On the other hand, if the reeing gets worse, then it also means they're getting more desperate and losing. Bit of a silver lining at least. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Like, every crying out article like this is a sign of our advance. Because if they didn't view us as a threat, they wouldn't need a 5,000-word fucking essay which doesn't say anything to convince us of it. The Dodgy UK. An example of a tourist in 40k. A British tourist on a holiday in Spain complains about the lack of fish and chips shops, saying they only serve foreign food. Yes, that is an excellent example. So Loxon Doppelganger, deaf to the false emperor, but preserve 40k. Yes. Shadowfox 2300. I mean, can they tell the difference between someone dressing up as a World War I inspired Krieger and a World War II German? No. They've never been able to, and they will never be able to. Oh, I've missed a bunch. God help me. Fuck. Aramak Discourse. Franco was a dictator, but he was not a fascist. All fascist movements were obsessed with ethnic rebirth concept under socialism. Franco notably didn't espouse anything like that. Largely correct. Franco was a fascist by expedience, literally. He viewed the fascists as one of the easiest ways to gain and retain power during and after the Spanish Civil War. He was not ideological at all. In fact, the reason why he was picked as a leader of the revolution, as the counter-revolution, one might even argue, was specifically because he was not associated with any of the other leading right-wing forces at the time, like the Christians and Catholics, for example. Lumi Angler. Hello, Arch and chat. Lumi. Lum. Hello, Arch and chat. How is everyone doing this fine day? Lum is sad. She's going to miss the ArchCast, but we'll be watching Lum for calendar. We'll add in Lum. Extra Lum for calendar. Extra Lum feeds. Bibesh, Heinlein was right. Every day this year I see more and more shit that was described in his book that led to the collapse of the old society. Let's just hope the veterans are ready, I guess. Artemis Fowl, I am 2 hours and 25 minutes into Dev's video and I am in physical pain. The video is not about even-handedness or neutrality, it is simply a condemnation essay. Well, I would expect as much. I'm going to try to get through that today too. Toby the Drink, member, becomes a member. Thank you very much, Toby. Thank you very much. RJT, don't look back in anger, Millennia 31. Sujan, all right, there we go, now I've caught up. Matthew Nunya, love your stuff, keep it up, brother, and let me hear a good rendition of My armor is contempt, my shield is disgust, my sword is hatred, in the Emperor's name, let none survive. That's okay. Not banned account, fascism is not okay, it's not a joke, people died. Exactly, that's the thing. See, that's the thing too. I even agree with the point that we need to start teaching people what fascism is. Not the left's ridiculous definition of it, but actually what fascism is. Let me bring up an example here. Let me see. What was it? Wer ist da? Ist wieder da. Ist wieder da. There we go. Ist wieder da. Right, okay. This right here is a movie that I highly recommend everyone check out, okay? Let me see. Is this the scene I think it is? Okay, right. Okay, I'm not going to show you the scene actually because it's too much of a goddamn spoiler. Okay, so ist wieder da. Look who's back. This is a German satirical comedy which actually does satire correct, where Hitler returns to the current year. 2014 in essence. And he looks around at Germany and thinks to himself, well, shit. I thought the German people would be eradicated at this point, but here they are. And he starts traveling around with a filmmaker, because the filmmaker is like, oh, it's not actually Hitler. He's a comedian putting on an act of being Hitler. This is hilarious. Let me bring him around and talk to people. And the people he talked to begin espousing some of the proto-problems we have today. Like they talk about immigration, they talk about crime, they talk about inflation, they talk about the rising cost of living. And Hitler has solutions for these problems. He talks to them on a personal level. Like he comes across as a charming gentleman. Now, the movie, because it needs to criticize Hitler, also has a couple of retarded scenes where he randomly shoots a dog. Again, this is Hitler, the famous animal lover, the vegetarian. But again, details, they need to make him look evil somehow. And there is a scene in the movie where the movie maker introduces him to a television studio. Let me see if I can find a picture of that. And the television studio is like, okay, I've got this comedy act here. He's Hitler. He pretends to be Hitler. He's hilarious. You gotta put him on your show. And he'll make a great comedy skit, right? And Hitler goes on this comedy show. And they're expecting to make fun of him, right? They write a comedy script for him, nothing serious. He's supposed to be the butt of a joke. And he just stands there. And he stares into the camera, completely silent. He lets everyone expect the joke and then doesn't deliver. He drags it out. He pulls them in until everyone is paying attention to nothing but him. And then he begins to speak. And he makes sense. He makes a great deal of sense. He rails against modernity. He rails against what has become of the German people. He takes their weaknesses, the things that are failing. He promises them something better. He promises them purpose. Why are you watching the cooking shows on television? The worse things are, the dumber entertainment becomes. I should know. You should see the shit that we were pumping out during the 40s. So what does it say about your civilization that everything that's on the television is getting dumber and dumber? Stupid cooking shows, stupid-ass memes, ridiculous Scooby-Doo toilet nonsense. What does it say about your civilization if your leaders are feeding you this shit? What are they hiding from you? And everyone screams out in appreciation. Everyone nods their heads. Everyone understands what he's saying because Hitler was a fucking fine public speaker. And that is the danger of it. He then begins rebuilding his movement, in essence. He starts restarting the actual Nazis, and he gains traction incredibly quickly. That is satire because it presents the points with a veneer of humor. It makes you laugh, and then it makes you go, oh shit. And why does he get away with it? He gets away with it because nobody recognizes that he is Hitler. Nobody gets it. Nobody looks at him in full Hitler uniform and goes, oh, it's Hitler. Nobody recognizes him from his talking points. Nobody recognizes him from his speech patterns. Nobody recognizes from his politics because nobody knows what fascism is anymore. That is a genuine, unironic problem. And that is also why the left has embraced the majority of fascism's doctrines whilst claiming to rally against it in the name of socialism. Fascism's fucking ideological twin. But yeah, no, there's a point there, but that's the problem. We don't know what fascism is. I highly recommend this movie, by the way. I highly recommend that movie. It is an excellent, excellent, excellent movie. To Neil89, aka Dislikement, a retarded article, a retard-ickle?
Heresy's the question.
Retard-sickle?
Fire is the answer.
Danny Deer, remember that turnips are an anti-Semitic dog whistle? I heard that one, yes. According to clearly sane and reasonable people on Twitter. Entirely sane and reasonable people on Twitter. Scarf of the Strange, Christians start nagging about Satan,
Heresy's
we get
the
Satanists.
question.
Marxists
Fire
start
is the
nagging about
answer.
fascism, we get Hugo Boss enthusiasts. I'm seeing a pattern. Exactly. Exactly. Moral busybodies create the things they rail against. This is human nature. Inescapable. Hominic Drive. Nazi roleplay was a thing in BDSM circles, but you don't hear anyone talk about it since around 2016. The left isn't tolerant. Of course it isn't. Voltron66. The far left are the most effective mass nullifiers. Largely so. So, John, every moral argument he's making can be aimed squarely back at the left, and we can show proof of it. Star Sector. And Sulux and Doppelganger. Rogue Trader lore was beta. Beta? Yes, beta, as in beta. Yes, the test for it. It was. The Neil89. For fuck's sake, conflating fascism with heresy or cooties. I know. Like, that's just like, okay, we're going to talk about this. We're going to talk seriously about fascism. Okay, right, okay. Serious talk about fascism. Where do we begin? Well, you see, it's kind of like hating women.
Heresy's the question. Fire is the
Okay,
answer.
right. Gotcha. Sky of the Strange. I'm waiting for these guys to be trying to take over a Lovecraftian horror just so I could hear them try to convince me that Lovecraft has always been woke. Oh, they've already done it. There was already a woke Lovecraftian role-playing game where they started out with the paragraphs like Lovecraft is for everyone, and we distance ourselves from the horrible bigotry of H.P. Lovecraft. And Blue Sky for another $50. Thank you very much, sir. For the girl whose peen take up most of her blood circulation. All right, a $50 donation for Chairman Mao Asakura. Let's see. Where is the Chairman Mao now? There she is. That just tips her over $200 too. More footers on the calendar. As Kiki, this kind of heresies make my brain hurt a lot. Respect the setting, you vandals. Glory to 2p. Indeed, they should respect the setting, but they can't, because to them, the setting is irrelevant. It is only intended to be a vessel for politics, and that is it. That is the only value they see in the setting. Zero Firewater, $100. Thank you very much, Zero Firewater. Incredibly generous of you. Thank you. A last large donation to Ninua, avoiding large supers for the time being, so they put woke into everything, so the gaslighting won't be broken. If everything and anyone is woke, are you crazy or the world? The world is crazy, and you're going to have to solve it. That's it. You're going to have to fix it. And we've come quite a ways from doing it as well. Or in doing it as well. That puts Ninua at $202. Okay, that's a nice resurgent as well. Thank you very much again, State of Firewater. And Delta 10 New Zealand. Fish for the fish god, scale for the scale throne. I'll take that as another donation for Lum Lum. There you go, 56. All right, back to work. Speaking as an occasional
Heresy's
enjoyer
the
of Warhammer
question.
40,000.
Fire is the answer.
Color me fucking surprised. At least the tourist outs himself, I guess. I love complex XCOM like Warhammer 40Ks and Chaos Gate Demon Hunters. So our 40K writer here's closest association and connection to 40K is a video game. Our Grey Knights. Great. I do think the setting actively channels
Service
various
guaranteed
proto-fascist
citizenship.
longings. You have no idea what proto-fascism is. You have no idea what fascism is. Shut your mouth. You're making yourself sound dumber by speaking.
Heresy's the
Sontag's
question.
characterization of
Fire
the
is the
hypnotic
answer.
fascist dramaturge on display in Nazi artwork and photography of Nazi rallies reads like a dissection of a Space Marine Codex cover. The classic spectacle of the Marines piled up like crabs in a bucket, balanced between egomania and servitude, domination of others and submission to an almighty leader, extravagant effort at the endurance of pain. No. This is your, again, retarded interpretation. You want to know why the 40K artwork looks like that? Why it looks exaggerated? Here, give me a second here. There we go. Oh God, can I not just show this? Do I have to download it or something? God, help me. Okay, fine. Anyway, I'll do that then. I'll do it the dumb, complicated way instead, you stupid website. There you go. It is classical heroism. That is what it is echoing. That is what the fascists too were echoing. The splendor of ancient civilizations. The magnificent heroism of exaggerated battles. That's why they fought in the nude on many of them. Like, not this one, thankfully, because YouTube might be upset about that. But the reason why many of the ancient drawings and pieces of hoplites, for example, fighting naked, you want they didn't actually fight naked with their dicks hanging out, did they? No. Why were they naked? Because it was heroic. That's why. They were looking even more majestic and masculine like that. You know, muscles on display, showing no fear in the face of the enemy. That is what 40K copies. That is what fascism copied. That is why, America copies. This isn't fascism. An art style does not make you fascist. Again, I went over this in the 40K Imperium is not fascist video because simply having an aesthetic does not make you fascist, you fucking tards. This ridiculous notion of ascribing heroism to fascism needs to end because not only is it dumb, but okay, listen here, leftists, listen here. Listen, just give me a second. I need to bring up that picture again to add further gravitas to my argument here for a second. Right. Where were we?
Service guarantees citizenship.
Where were we? Oh, there we go. Okay, all right. Listen here. Listen here, Edwin. Are you, as a leftist, entirely sure you wish to cede in its entirety the scene of masculinity, heroic sacrifice, combat, honor, and glorious victory to the fascists? Are you sure you wish to make that the sole purview of fascism? Because with the exception of, well, you and those like you, that would mean that every single fucking male on the planet would embrace fascism, because these are masculine aspirations. These are masculine desires. You remember the meme that went on Twitter a few weeks or a year or so ago? Like how often you think about the Roman Empire? The Roman Empire is peak male in aesthetics, in style, in perseverance, in gravitas, in demonstration, in everything. People love the Roman Empire because it is cool, goddammit. It is the same reason why they love heroism, why they love the last stand against overwhelming odds. These are masculine aspirations that are natural in males. Well, quote unquote, I do suppose. And I, for one, think that maybe we should provide an alternative to that, but hey, details. Illustration of Space Marine battle scenes and pageants are routinely defined by what Sontag calls orgastic transactions between mighty forces and their puppets, uniformly garbed and shown in ever-swelling numbers. Heroic battles, alternating between ceaseless motion and a congealed static virile posing, looking heroic. If there is supposed to be an overtone of absurdist exaggeration, I'm not sure that appears in lots of later-day Space Marine art.
Heresy's the question.
I don't
Fire
care
is
if
the
it's
answer.
exaggerated. I don't care if it's absurd. It looks cool. Can you not get that through your soy-drunk brain? There is, I think, a zero sense of caricature at work in Space Marines 2 combat, as Matthew Clark put it in his complaints about video gaming moralizing, we just want to do some glory kills and get the heart rate up a little. Exactly. And again, You've got the left railing against this, going, no, no, you can't simply enjoy it. You can't just enjoy the battles and the warfare. You have to think about it. You have to think it's a caricature. You have to analyze it politically. You have to be disgusted by the blatant machism on display.
Citizenship.
Machine gun go burr. Ha ha. Literally. That should be the response to all of this. Like, oh, it's virile posing. It's a bit exaggerated, don't you think? Oh, you know, the mighty puppets are uniformly garbed. Oh, isn't this satirical? Chainsaw to go brr. Literally. Almost a century since European fascism arose, we may intellectually understand such art for a display of hatred. No. And yet still feel drawn to it. Yes, but no. Perhaps we live in grimdark times indeed. Your bitch ass lives in an era of unprecedented riches. Never before, except perhaps during the 60s and 80s, I guess, has humanity been better off. And you're like, well, that art over there, it's a bit too masculine, don't you think? Oh, we are living in a grim, dark age. The man over there has pecs. Oh, fuck's sake, you are a parody of yourself. Do you know that? I think the brutalness and the terror of 104K, the obviousness of its adept to the theatrics of tyrants like Hitler and Mussolini, may actually be what lends it positive appeal, in that embracing a monstrous taboo produces a sense of freedom from the hypocrisy that all is well. The Imperium is one of the many cathartic dark fantasy statements about the hideousness of contemporary reality. It channels a conviction that our world, this neoliberal and imperialist capitalist dog's dinner, is not in fact the height of progress, but fundamentally awful and only getting worse. That is your view. That is your view of looking, oh, we are living in a capitalist hellhole. Oh, I'm eating 5 times a day. My biggest problem, literally, is my concern of what I'm going to do for fun this day. How am I going to amuse myself? The greatest issue facing the majority of people in the Western world today is not food, it is not sustenance, it's not water, it is not liberty, it is boredom. It has become a greater concern for the modern day man when he can steal a chance to jack off to fucking cartoon tits than where he's going to get his next meal. Okay? That is the world we are living in. Our world is amazing for all of its moral flaws. And this thing, the moral rot is our one problem. The fact that we have people looking at our world of excess, of incredible plenty, and going, well, that's just downright evil. That's the problem. Because this is indeed our masculine outlet. This is our masculine release. This is our ability to play war, the thing for which men were made. It is our ability to bash toy soldiers against one another, to fight with plastic swords, to enjoy crushing a tyrannid's skull between our hands. That is our escape. And maybe you don't want to deprive us of that. Just saying. This was possibly true of 140,000 as it was conceived in 1980s Britain. I guarantee you it wasn't. I guarantee you the 1980s British people in their basement weren't like, no, we have to critique this terrible post-liberal capitalist society. No, their thought was, wow, the God Emperor is an enormous worm? Fuck yeah, that's radical. Put it in there. That was their thinking. It's certainly true today. Amid pandemic, mass layoffs in your field at least, tangible climate change impacts. Yeah, do I need to bring up the picture of okay, hold on. About how the, the picture of the Statue of Liberty, sea level. Let's see, can I even find it now? Because I remember... Oh, there we are. There we are. This page doesn't work. Well, screw you then. Alright, I'll just copy it. The Statue of Liberty. Because I remember when Al Gore was talking about how the sea would have risen by like 2 or 3 meters by now, how we'd all be underwater years and years ago, how the ice caps were melting, how we had only a few years left to exist. Well, this is the Statue of Liberty as seen in ancient ass reels. You can see there you've got the embankment, you've got the actual like concrete layer, and then you've got the Statue of Liberty. And then we've got the Statue of Liberty as it appears today. Same embankment, same layer, same everything. Now, I'm not going to go so far as to go the whole climate change hoax thing, because I absolutely do believe that there is a degree of climate change happening all the time through literally nature, ice ages, etc. But I will say that the changes do not appear to be quite as tangible as you appear to believe yourself. And clear evidence the planet's wealthiest are a pack of would-be post-human autocrats. Now that I agree with. Let's deal with the World Health Organization immediately. Let's deal with the EU. Let's deal with the WEF. There are many, many elites that I would like to see castrated as well, dear comrade. What even now feeding their plunder into their serious accelerationist self-preservation initiatives? Okay, let me guess. Are we about to get some Elon Musk here? Nope, it's just preppers. Ah, there we go. There's Elon Musk. There we go. I knew we'd get a Musk in there somewhere. It's like Musk is trying to go to space. A terrible billionaire. How dare he? He's just going to try to save himself. You do know that a Mars colony is going to require a bit more people than Elon Musk, right? You do know that this is an advantage for all of us, right? Becoming a multi-planet civilization. You know this is a universal good to go out into space, right? See, the space race is going to be the next anti-nuclear movement, I guarantee you. So, the anti-nuclear movement is based on nothing but left-wing propaganda, some of it inspired by the Russians, incidentally, where it's like, we can't have nuclear power, we can't have nuclear power, we have to have green power, but not nuclear power, that would solve all of our problems, don't do that. Okay, why not? Well, there was that Russian power plant that exploded. Okay, so we won't build a Russian power plant then. No! But you want green energy? Yeah! But nuclear power is about as green energy as we can possibly get. I don't want solutions. I want to make communism real. This is going to be the next that. They're going to look up at space, at humanity growing, becoming richer and vaster than ever, and go, that seems like a solution to my problem. I hate it. This doesn't lead to communism. This is an exceptionalist, meritocratic idea. I fucking hate it. Predicated on the extinction of everybody else. No, it's not. Predicated on the extinction of everybody else. No, it's not. It is... what? Excuse me here. Let me just... Yeah, I was pretty sure. To base or establish on. Is my English failing me? To base or establish, to state or affirm as an attribute or quality of something, a fundamental asset. Elon Musk isn't going to space because he's planning on wiping out humanity, you fucking maniac. God, fuck. Oh, I'm trying to swear less on live streams, but this one is not going to be one of them. It's demonetized. At the heart of the developed West, the civic and political institution that arose from the old post-war liberal society, consensus mouldering and gathering underneath, like the emperor dreaming on his golden throne, objects of worship that have been hollowed out by capital. You've read a little bit too much Das Kapital, my friend, and not enough of literally anything else. Oh, God. All right, more Superchats. Oh, it scrolled again. Don't do that to me. Little scrolly thing. Wait. Where was I? Where was I? My thing isn't tracking anymore. Okay, let me reload.
Heresy's the question. Fire is the answer.
Huh. Well, that's interesting. Let me see, because I see this. Brandon, for $100, thank you very much. It'd be more respectable if these people just said they hate 40k, more money for Camilla. Thank you very much, sir. But weirdly, the super chat didn't show up in the viewer activity. That's weird. Okay, YouTube is being very fucky today, otherwise I would have missed it. What the hell is you? Are you updating? Yeah, you chat that one. Okay, right, weird. Very weird. Sentinel Rex. Wow, they make fascism sound so good and wholesome. It's like when Bender from Futurama, when he was trying to convince people to stop eating people. Poplars. And the balls, that's the left definition of fascism is anything that disagree with the most recent NPC programming update. Borderlands 2, Angel. Yes. The leftist definition of fascism is in essence quite simply just that which disagrees with me. That which stands in the way of my political power. That is it. Sky for the Strange. I'd say we need someone to troll the left by making a fascist movie disguised as a feminist movie, but someone already did it with some science document. And making a pro-man movie with a Barbie movie. Drivey, what's this? A Thursday live show? Yes. I couldn't be bothered to go through this in a video format, and I knew it would take forever, so I decided to just stream it, frankly, instead. Actually, I'll do a poll. Because, there you go, simple poll.
Fire is the answer.
Because I usually don't do this. I usually do videos because videos are... I feel as if videos are more respective towards the viewer's time, honestly. So I was sort of hesitant to even do this, but I was like, oh, this is a very long article. I'm going to talk about it for fucking ever. There are so many things I am going to wander off on tangents of that I'm like, fuck it, we're going to do it live. Why are you hating? The chief editor of the LA Times just resigned because they refused to endorse either candidate. The tide is turning. Fucking really nice. And now, I want to point out this too. The McDonald's stunt. Okay, we're off on a tangent again. Right, so let me find there we go. There we go. That's such a good picture. That's such a fucking good picture. Okay. The Trump at McDonald's thing, okay? This was a brilliant PR stunt. And bear in mind, it was a PR stunt. Obviously, it was a PR stunt. The restaurant was closed off, and they had a they had a screened series of people who would show up in their cars and receive their fries from Donald Trump, right? The entire thing probably lasted like a couple of hours most,
Service
right?
guarantees citizenship.
But here's the thing. People have tried to shoot him 3 times now. Yeah, of course it's fucking staged. You're not going to put Donald Trump in a random McDonald's window. Are you insane? Not after 3 assassination attempts, you're not. But it comes across as so incredibly wholesome. As what? It comes across as wholesome. It comes across as populistic and idealistic, as normal, down to earth, and as American as apple fucking pie, frankly. And the fact that McDonald's let him do this is remarkable. Bear in mind, this is literally Hitler right here. This is the Hitler sympathizer Donald Trump, the evilest man on earth, the man that has received 8 years of 98% negative media coverage. The man is kryptonite. Okay, he is radioactive on a level rarely before seen, and the only reason why he hasn't been cancelled is because he's too big to, which is why they're trying to shoot him, incidentally. The fact that McDonald's was willing to take such a obviously partisanly neutral stance as letting him in and then simply extending the same invitation to Kamala instead of outright refusing is remarkable. It's the same with YouTube as well. YouTube easing up on its restrictions on talking about the election was a clear show that they're beginning to pull back on their negativity. They're beginning to reduce their anti-right-wing sentiment. It is blatantly clear to everyone. It's why Inside Out 2, where Disney was like, no, you don't get to make it gay. Shut up. You don't get to sexualize the 13-year-old girl. You fucking perv monster. Stop it. All of this is a sign that everyone, corporations to governments, are looking at the world and realizing, wow, the left sucks. It's made up out of absolute shitbags. And the right is resurgent on every front. I think it's time we turned our cape after the wind. That's what's happening here. And the left knows it, and it is afraid. It knows all of the tyrannical shit it has done for the last 10 years is, God willing, about to be repaid 3 times over in a lesson that will not be forgotten in the next 200 years, I dearly hope. But yeah, the Trump McDonald's thing was brilliant. Mark ashamed. Oh, I see you have found the Warhammer Conference video. In the grim darkness of the far future, there is only politics. Warhammer Conference. I remember that one. You mentioned that one. The Warhammer Conference. The world's first academic conference dedicated to all things. Oh boy. Oh boy. What the fuck is this? Oh, what the fuck is this? Oh God, what the Okay, now I know this exists. Realistic theories of international relations and the lore of Warhammer 40k. In the grim darkness of the far future, there is only politics.
Service guarantees citizenship.
Resisted the procedural rhetoric of rebellion what the? And this is official, by the way. This appears to be official, I think. Is it? I mean, they're using their logo, they're using their name, the same name they went after me for, mind you. Is this official? Because this is some bullshit. This is some retardation. This is, however, something I'm definitely bookmarking, because this will be food for me and Sargon's show. Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, we're porking that away. That will feed many Arch and Sargon videos. That will feed many, many, many Arch and Sargon videos, that will. So, an academic, of course, by definition, is progressive academia, mind you. Muggy of Antlers, evening Arch, have some of my money before the taxman takes it. Much better used. Yeah, give it to me instead. And to your calendar girl of your choice, human, and the left will support murder grape Xeno so long as they're opposed to the perceived conservation. Lum lum for calendar. Yes. Yeah, no, literally. Like I mentioned with the Norwegian politician who was feeling bad about his rapist being deported. Yes. Literally, the leftist will sympathize with the man who fucked him in the ass. Okay? That's the left.
Heresy is the question. Fire is the answer.
Scarf the Strange, if you're talking about Fate of Cthulhu, that went about as well as that shipment of female space marines, and it was forgotten too soon. I wanted a sequel trilogy nonsense, but arguments revealed their stupidity. And I'm always talking about that one, yes. Sephirius, Arch, we need to make Mussolini's writings required reading so kids actually know what fascism is. Yes. Mussolini and, what was his name?
Service guarantees citizenship.
I'm stuck now. But there's another Italian who was one of the main thinkers behind fascism. Something was, oh God, what was it, G? Not Gramsci. Now, Gramsci should be required reading as well, definitely. But, oh God, what was his name? Giovanni Gentile. That was it. Yes, Giovanni Gentile. Giovanni Gentile as well needs to be required reading.
Fire is the answer.
Ben, Arch, if there's people we run into still saying you're racist Nazis, there's some video of you done we can link to disprove, or should we not even bother anymore? Honestly, the best way is not even engaging with the argument, and just to say, no, he isn't, fuck you. And then they're going to be like, but this and this, no, fuck you. But this and this, no, fuck you. Simple as that. The best way to engage with this is to refuse the tyranny of the left's moral browbeating. It is to simply say, like, oh, you think this guy's a fascist? Yeah. I don't care. But you don't care that he's a fascist? Yeah. But that's evil. I don't care. Menefrego, if you want to be spicy. Oh, we need to bring that back. We need to fucking bring that back. See, again, that's the thing. You want a clear example of how fascism, Italian fascism, was birthed from socialism. It is the fact that the very first slogan that the fascists came up with was, I don't care about your moralizing. That's how you know. The socialists were moralizing, and the fascists went, I don't care. Me ne frego. Skylight, your position on how the roots of fascism was born from socialism. Oh, very simple. Fascism was created by syndicalism. Syndicalism was a more organized version of Marxist communism that basically realized that we're not going to get an organic citizens' revolution, we are going to need a violent one. We are going to need an uprising, and for that we are going to create syndicals. Syndicals of brick workers, syndicals of textile workers, and we will begin organizing along these lines. Mussolini was a member of this, and he himself wrote countless articles about how we needed to bring about La Revolution. However, La Revolution never came, and it was only during the time of Mussolini's rise to power when his contemporary Antonio Gramsci put forward a theory as to why that wasn't happening. But before Mussolini could read that or engage with it, he simply decided, okay, we need the revolution. My entire ideology is centered around the revolution that will sweep away the capitalist bourgeoisie, but it's not happening. All right. I'm going to go make a revolution. And he did. That is what Mussolini did. He created the revolution. He rose up against capitalism and instated what he was of the opinion was the tyranny of the proletariat. It is inherently, absolutely, unescapably socialist. Robleg63, what's funny is that the Romans collapsed for the same issues we see cropping up today. People not taking pride in being Roman and just wanting pleasure. Yep. Sindus, stop that, YouTube, you little piece of shit, stop crapping on me. Jesse Jinx, I'll do that one in the meantime, I guess. $60, thank you very much. Here's 60 plus bonus, so 39 each for Applejack and Chrysalis. Right, let me hiccup. Note that down. That'll be 80 there. And Applejack. All right. $317 now then for Applejack on the calendar. Ponies, 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 ponies. Hooray. And Chris, let's put them into the list. I think I donated some dosh towards Fluttershy, but in case the new calendar doesn't get funded, would you mind letting me know how much I might put it into those two? The new calendar is, let's see, it's at 1, 3... It's doing pretty well. There's like 2 months left, and the new calendar is always like halfway there. So I wouldn't be surprised if the new calendar will be funded as well. But it's still like 1,500 away in total. So for the moment, there's only 10 calendar girls, but there's probably going to be 22. Probably, almost certainly. Sindus, tree catches fire. Environmentalists, look. Look, CC Lumi? Look. See. Look, is Lumi on fire? I don't know. Is Lumi on fire?
Citizenship.
It might be. Sky of the Strange. RTS is peak masculine escapism. Yes. You build civilization to destroy other civilizations. Yes. No one, at least the Martian space
Service
commie, will run out of O2.
citizenship.
True. El Serrano, who cares about the viewer's time? We are just walking corpses in the end. It's a bit harsh, but fair. Stutters. What's the crack? Arch just got here. Happy to see cringe online rags call 40k fascist. They might stop trying to say it's hyper left wing now, lol. Who knows? Who knows? And Lumi Angler, I enjoy streams, so then I have a long-ass VOD to listen to while at work. Hashtag push this towards more Lumi on the calendar. I shall. I'll even add in the special Lumi discount. Don Smith, this style stream is great because during the work day, it's background. Please, lots more, all the mores. By the way, you should try s'mores. S'mores? Marshmallows? Oreos? And James Coon, I do find it funny that a lot of leftists want to play the hero against fascism, but don't see that they practice fascist ideas themselves. And the satire film of Hitler was both funny and eye-opening, especially today. Any pony. Okay. Any pony. Well, Starlight Glimmer then. Starlight Glimmer's fallen too far on the list. Yeah, Starlight Glimmer gets a bonus too.
Heresy's the question. Fire is the answer.
Poor Starlight Glimmer. And there's the thing too. It's like, oh, I see myself as a fighting against fascism. Oh, you're partaking in toxic hero worshipping masculinity, are you? I don't know about that. That's a little bit cringe, bruh. Anyways, back to it. As its most potent, The Imperium of Man can be a fiction that renders all this distinguishably concrete and provides some relief, opening an interval for laughter and discussion. I want to choke you right now, because yes, that is what we had. That is the 40k we used to have. That is what gaming was. That is what 40k was. That is what all of this was. Escapism, an opportunity for laughter, discussion, just disconnecting from the entire world. Then you came by and said, oh, don't you think this is patriarchal? And we made the mistake of not braining you then and there. This, for me, is the point of its satire. But satire does really work when you commodify it successfully. All the important historical context is lost, all the business evolves over decades and moves between markets, and the need to sell a product encourages a more straightforward, positive identification with the radiant fascist tropes Sontag describes. So it isn't satire, then. Within Warhammer 40k's galactic expression of despair, the figure of the Space Marine offers a particular sense of identity and purpose for suffering, vindictive men. Grieving for her own brother's turn towards misogyny, Bell Hooks writes that the first act of violence that the patriarchy demands of men isn't abuse of women, but self-mutilation.
Fire is the answer.
To a feminist is telling me about self-mutilation. You want skip? Space Marines, skip. Skip. Skip indeed. I am not having a feminist tell me about masculinity. I am going to apply my own standard and simply say, no. Fuck off. I'm not immune to this hellish daydream. It's a carnival and mirror show for all the tacky little aggressions and humiliations of my own upbringing. I'm not going to add to that, actually. I'm just gonna bring up that picture again for a little bit. Just to add context. Humiliation of my own upbringing. I understand my own masculinity as a wound.
Service guarantees citizenship.
That is slowly healing. And which is reopened periodically by the experience of art that cultivates the old patriarchal frenzy. And this is why I will not let a feminist tell me about masculinity. Because if I do, I will turn into a person who finds their masculinity the very essence of themselves as a human being to be a wound. You talk about self-mutilation, that the patriarchy demands self-mutilation. No, feminism demands mutilation. To feminism, being a male is a stigmatic thing. It is a bad thing. It is a taboo. It is an inherent negative. It causes you to describe yourself as a wound. As a wound, periodically open by experiencing of art that cultivates the old patriarchal frenzy. When you see a heroic rendition of masculinity, you feel wounded. There is no words. There is. I mean, I am genuinely sorry that. Who the fuck hurt you like this? See, now I'm feeling bad for being mean to you. Now I'm feeling genuinely distressed at this, actually, because somebody has traumatized the shit out of you, dude. Like, my God, you have been damaged on a level that I find difficult to comprehend. Who managed to make it so that your very being becomes painful to you? It's like... This is what can only be described as a female level of trauma. The kind of damage that only a woman could conceivably do to another man. I find Warren 4K's Imperium freeing as a magnification of the grinding stupidity of patriarchy, but I also feel the pull of these warty stereotypes. I looked at the thunderously daft trailer for Alex Warhammer 40,000 Dawn of War 3, do not remind me. Trailer, and silly as it sound, I tear up a little. Because I see the smiling face of the Dune Marine, the sheer absence of fear my older male conditioning has always demanded and never permitted, but I also look at it with anger because, of course, it's an idea that wants to kill me. My dude, hold on. I have a prop just for this. I have the cure for what ails you.
Heresy's the question.
It's this.
Fire
This is the cure
answer.
for what ails you. This right here. Go out and buy some toys, okay? Buy yourself a goddamn sword, okay? Buy yourself this. Have this in your hand. Grip it. Feel the weight of it. Try to actually connect a little bit with the male part of you, which is somewhere buried deep. And tell me it doesn't feel nice. Tell me that a sword doesn't make you just a little bit happy. Tell me that you don't find a sword inherently beautiful and appealing. That is what you need. You need to go out there and buy a fuckload of swords. Big boys' toys, in essence. That is what you need. And you'll feel better about yourself, unironically. Or a gun, yeah, if you're living in a country that allows guns, I suppose. In the words of Ursula Le Guin, the carrier bag okay, the word of Ursula Le Guin. Another female. It is the story that hid my humanity from me. The story the mammoth hunters told about bashing, thrusting, raping, killing, about the hero. She was writing about how men and the tales they weave are omitted from the entire conception of narrative in Western fantasy literature. Well, that is true, yes. There is very little, if damn near any, actual male-centric literature in the West these days. But this also describes how fables of masculinity, even farcical ones, hide from men their capacity for tenderness, for kindness. No. Like all characters, Spider-Man shed light on this, unpack masculine's war, but some space. Okay, no. Okay, so you're not going to understand this. You're not going to expand upon this. Tenderness and kindness and care, these are feminine virtues expressed in the way that you wish to express them. Tenderness, as in a loving touch, and kindness, these are feminine virtues in their feminine way, like you are doing now, viewing your masculinity as a wound. That is a feminine thing. But again, this is tenderness. This is kindness of the masculine way. How? Because you just mentioned the mammoth hunters that went out to hunt mammoths, to bashing, thrusting, raping, killing about the hero. They are protectors. They keep you safe from the raping, from the killing. That is kindness. That is tenderness. Bringing food back to the tribe, feeding the young, raising children in safety and security, free of deprivation and hardship. That is tenderness and kindness. It is not all a universally feminine trait here. There are elements of this in masculinity. There are elements of strength in femininity as well. A woman protecting the child from the invader with a short knife, or the woman intending to take her own life to preserve her purity from being raped by the barbarians, etc. You cannot... That is the core problem. Right there, isn't it? That is why you view your masculinity as a wound, because you only view the feminine side of things. You cannot view masculinity in a positive light because you have unironically been feminized to the point of viewing your own nature as universally negative. You are incapable of seeing the positive in the hero. Somebody did a fucking number on this guy. Jesus Christ. How could Warhammer 40k and video game adaptations like Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2 rediscover the setting's notional anti-fascism? Literally it can't. It is a catch-22 at this point. If you try to make it about anti-fascism, you will only make people more fascist at that point, because you are the nagging ant again. I'm not sure it is possible. There is too much world building to dismantle. I love that. I don't think there's much to be gained from cleaning up the image of the Space Marine, whether by having them say company dismissed instead of brothers attend your duties, or by recharacterizing Space Marines according to otherwise worthwhile diversity ideals. You can't improve a monster like this. I think you have to double down on the hideousness instead. You have to lean into the unlikability of the Space Marine above all else. Perhaps you have to remind yourself that the Space Marine is a clown. I think that's going to be even more important. The first edition of Warhammer 40,000, the Marines appeared more ridiculous than formidable. Okay, let's see here. So, Rogue Trader, more ridiculous than formidable. How about that? You've got some Admex dude here. You got a dude with giant pauldrons and a giant gun. Yeah, I don't really see the ridiculous here, but then again, I don't consider my penis to be a wound either. They are squalid gargoyles of flesh and circuitry. They are strung-out fashy gangbangers in leather belts and onion armor. They are incompetent coppers, sneering Schutzstaffel. Again, like it's literally the masculine power fantasy of the last stand surrounded and under fire. And it's like, oh, fascists.
Heresy's the question.
They are
Fire is
silly
the
and
answer.
dysfunctional, layering between the numbered tales of the first edition like fairy tale ogres playing at nights, where today's Space Marines appear evenly proportioned and graceful for their bulk, and I hate it. Much of the early art occupies a hinterland between
Service
linear depths
guarantees
of perspective
citizenship.
and the flattened crowds of medieval altarpiece. The Space Marine of this era look false and ungainly, at once bulbous and glistening and smeared across the canvas. They are laughable, they are enjoyably grotesque.
Heresy's the question. Fire is the answer.
Enjoyably grotesque. More and more often, like this is enjoyably grotesque. This here is grotesque. More and more, I am reminded of the fact, the unescapable fact, that the leftists do not see the world in any way that we do. Like they're different fucking species. They are a different goddamn species at this point. How is this not awesome? How is this not cool as hell? How is this not aspirational? How is this not amazing? And how, on God's good earth, is this grotesque? I mean, again, if you view masculinity as an open wound, then I suppose so, but... There is no communication to be had here, is there? I need to copy that into my fucking script about satire, because Jesus Christ, like,
Heresy's the question.
again, a point
Fire
on
is the
how
answer.
the worldview of people is just so unfathomably different. I mean, Christ. Explaining the virtues of 40k to someone who thinks like this would be like trying to explain advanced algorithms to a fucking sheep. This reflects the ostentatiously scraped-together feel of early Warhammer 40k at large. It's a work of crafty and capricious thoughtlessness, marching beneath a science fiction fantasy banner that grants license to pilfer from everywhere and everyone. High and low culture undergoes cybernetic recombination. The founding tale of a Space Marine
Guaranteed
rebellion against the
citizenship.
Emperor, led by chaos-polluted Horus, is a reworking of Satan's treachery in Paradise Lost. I mean, kinda, but I would also just say like Egyptian, but there is also a character called Obi-Wan Sherlock Clouseau, and a planet named in mockery of Birmingham. The whole thing is reminiscent of Shakespeare, not in the gilding of the poesy or the sentiment, but in the way that it plays to the pit as much to the gallery. I don't know about that either. But Rogue Trader was a very different beast, this is true. The setting has obvious topicality, but the fiction is too incoherent to be sustained political commentary. It researches tentacles in all directions. It's a libidinal kit-bashing of everything the authors find intriguing or intriguingly revolting about their
Heresy's
time.
the
And at the
question.
core, all that
Fire is
ravenous
the
world building that is the Space Marine. Again, you are attributing intent where none existed. You are assuming that they did this for all kinds of political hoity-toity reasons, when in reality, they did it because it looks cool. They didn't make the Space Marines as a satire of fascism, a poorly understood concept today, much less so in 1980s Britain. They did it because they're giant armored knights with guns. One of my favourite artworks from this primordial period is David Galder's Lost Patrol, printed on the cover of White Dwarf magazine in 1992. It depicts a crowd of Space Marines and other Imperial goons
Heresy's
descending a
the
stair in
question.
some phantom
Fire
dimension.
Is the answer.
You mean the webway? Yeah. Again, this is before 40k became 40k, where you've got Dark Angels, Space Wolves, Blood Angels, Ultramarines, all just haphazardly tumbled together into the webway. with a suggestion of a city architecture in the top corner. A couple of the Marines resemble the ones you see in Space Marine 2, with uniform armor and heraldry, and a particular squareness of jaw, a glittiness of eyes that has become canonical. But most of them look like press-ganged junkies, in face paint and pretentious mohawks, layering at the shadows. Their costumes and equipment are unconvincing, snatched from a backstage wardrobe in passing. There are trained swords and lawmaker-style modular pistols that also heraldic banders and ribboned Tudor sleeves. The guy in the bottom right still keep bumbled in from a syncretic pagan reenactment with a laurel wreath and a feather dangling from his battle axe. That's because these are scouts. These are probably basically hive gangers in essence. These are the lowest reaches of the Space Marine hierarchy. They're not yet full Marines. They don't get the enhancements making the square-jawed heroes. They don't get the armor. They are scouts in a battle team. But again, I wouldn't expect you to know much, if indeed any, of that. And again, this is obviously like the Indian inspiration that they took from, as GW originally just borrowed from literally anything and everything. Doubtless much of this can be grounded in particular gobbets of Space Marine backstory, indeed. But the impression I get looking back from 2024, is a setting happy to lose and squander itself in the kindness of its appropriations and transformations. The guy up top performatively pointing a gun that is also pointing itself feels like the mascot for those early years of gluttonous, disorderly pastiche. You mean unapologetically cool? By contrast, 140K today evokes stasis. It has compacted and reduced many of these disparate materials into something monolithic and ancient and respectable. Compared that artwork with Gallagher's later cover, the spin-off board game Lost Patrol, the matching uniforms, the interchangeable faces, and sedent collar composition. The impression of being overwhelmed that it is oddly consistent with an almost supine sense of control, mastery over encroaching legions of the other. Whatever energy was there, here is long gone. Well, that's the thing, because this is more modern, this is more grim dark, whereas the previous is rogue trader, silly. It is not the same thing. It is two entirely separate products. It is tricky to pick apart through the entanglement of fascism with other cultural institutions. The root goes deep. One ready objection to the above praise for early 40k art is that fascism may be dangerous when they seem totally daft and ramshackable. Is there any point at which anything is not fascist? Is more like, okay, in your point of view, it's supposed to be a satire of fascism, right? A mockery of satire of fascism, and yet that too is dangerous fascism. Is there any point at which it that cannot be named is safe to engage with without turning into a goose-stepping Nazi? Is there any form of fascism that isn't somehow inherently radioactive? Donald Trump is a clown. Donald Trump is a politician, and an effective one. He is easy to laugh at. Well, that's the thing too. Here's the thing. And again, Donald Trump is a clown, he's easy to laugh at. Let's assume that is true. Let's assume that Trump is a just crazed clown. He is nothing more than a joke, right?
Heresy is the question.
Why is he
Fire
winning?
Is the answer.
Think about it. Just think about that for a second. Why is a clown winning? Why did a clown become president? Why? Is it because we are in a... So, like, I know his answer will be something like, oh, it's because we're in a capitalist declining system. Everything is just going weird right now. No. It is because you made him. It is because the left made him. It is because the left continued to go on about change for change's sake. The left never delivering. The left constantly lambasting and attacking everyone. Creating an era in which we will just embrace just about anyone who says, I will stop this. I will make America great again. I will no longer talk about how being patriotic is bad. I will no longer attack America as a nation. I will no longer humiliate its military. I will no longer call you out for being a bad person, for loving your country. I will appreciate and enhance all of those things. Again, it is the left as the noisy nanny that has done all of this. The post-Gamergate alt-right movement. The post-Gamergate alt-right movement. You gotta give it. You gotta let it go, dude. You gotta let it go. Gamergate was 10 years ago. The alt-right hasn't been relevant in 6 or 7 years. You gotta let it go. They're as dead as the fascists you attack. That helped elevate Trump into a god emperor, excel at making bigotry seem harmless by presenting it as edgy humor. Well, that's exactly it. It isn't. Oh, God help me. It doesn't make it seem harmless. It makes it seem edgy. It makes it appear revolting. Not revolting, but revolutionary. It is revolting against you. It is standing up against the status quo. It is cool. It is rebellious. It is interesting, and it is speaking truth to power. Your power, the institutional power of the left. Like, again, my banner on this YouTube channel is not meant ironically. We are the rebels. We are the ones against the institutionalized authority of the left. Or even better, as purposeful tastelessness as cringe. Their basic debating gambit is to lambaste their opponent for taking things too seriously. My dude, on top of buying yourself a sword, I'd recommend looking up some internet videos that aren't Bloodsport and that aren't from 6 years ago. Still, revisiting artwork like Lost Patrol feels like a good start for anybody genuinely committing to a notional anti-fascism of the Space Marine, inasmuch as it dissolves today's consecrated noble killer into a hash of referencing, smashed together in a manner that is, I think, genuinely countercultural, because the mood of composition exhibits no respect for the military, for beauty, for the religious ecstasy of crowds, for empires. That is not the counterculture today. That is not at all countercultural. Being against, like, listen here. For beauty, respect for the military, for beauty, no respect for beauty. That is weird. No respect for religion is kind of weird, particularly in a leftist sense. No respect for military is also weird. All of these things deserve respect, not because they are countercultural. It is, in fact, countercultural to have respect for them. It is actually counterculture to appreciate beauty these days, as we can see with the recent Lara Croft show, for example. As we can see with Concord. It is unironically rebellious to like beauty. You are not the counterculture. You are established norms. That was my sword falling over because I rested it against the side of the desk. That probably deafened you. I will not apologize. It is a rebellion against the norm to want to have attractive characters. You are not the counterculture. You are not the rebels. You are not the punks. You are the establishment. You are writing for a major mainstream gaming newspaper. I am a dude with a video camera
the question.
and a
Fire
microphone.
Is the answer.
Which one of us has more institutional power? And I know, and again, this is leading back to it all. All men have the fantasy of fighting against overwhelming odds. All men have the fantasy of being the hero. You as well, Edwin. Your fantasy is fighting against fascism, against the other, the fascists out there. They're everywhere. They're on the internet. They're in the streets. They're in government. They're in Trump camps. There are thousands of fascists, and you're the only line standing against them. In your mainstream gaming media paper, in your ad revenue sponsored mainstream gaming media site, as you talk and make interviews with AAA game developers. And I'm not expecting you to realize that anytime soon. And as for the commonality, comments, 126 comments. 126 people bothered to engage with this post. Meanwhile, I've got about 1,439 people watching me live, dissecting it right now. Not only are you not counterculture, you were never the majority, and you certainly will never be the majority. And I'm going to skip the last 2 paragraphs because you know what? I've had enough brain rot for one day, honestly. I think that's enough for now. I think I am happy to no longer engage with this and instead talk to my audience again. That seems more fun. I want to do that instead. I want to do that. I want to see what my little rat bricks have to say. Let's see. The Cheerful Cynic. Hey, Arch, something else I think you should bring up with the female Space Marine argument is how they always inevitably have to crap on the Sisters of Battle. Well, of course, because it's... I've talked about this countless times. The female Space Marine argument is not an argument for female Space Marines. It is not an argument for female representation. That was never the point. They're not interested in that. It is an argument for power. They want it because they want it. They want it because it will show that the left has made Games Workshop...
Fire is the answer.
Games Workshop, yes. Bend the knee. That is the reason why. They have admitted as much. I've done videos on them admitting it, that it has nothing to do with representation. It is about power and politics. That is all.
Fire is
that
the
is
answer.
it. Therefore, the female Space Marines, in essence, of the Sisters of Battle, will never be enough because it is not the left getting what it wants. It's not Games Workshop surrendering. Contradim, yo, Goldfish, are you trolling for money? Are you going to answer my question? Witcher when? Did you ask a question? Not or pretty. Also, it's funny YouTube is red coincidence. Witcher starts when? Oh, Witcher starts when? I have no idea. No fucking clue. Probably November. Possibly. Yeah, probably November.
Heresy's the question.
Gontrodin, thoughts on Carl's remonetization? Interesting. Now, he hasn't been fully remonetized yet. I talked to him about it today. He has the ability to monetize his channel, and he can get super chats, but he can't monetize videos, as all the videos are slapped with the yellow mark of demonetization, just like they did to Count Dankula, regardless of the nature of the video. So he's pseudo monetized. Now, that though is a sign that YouTube is at least beginning to ease up on their more ridiculously draconian restrictions. Pakelda 2, Arch, how do you eat skinless kid chicken? Do you boil that too? And Witcher, I guess. Witcher's already funded, goddammit. Easy, chicken fillet. You know, a fillet where you just eat your ground chicken meat, right? Ground chicken meat, and you have a fillet of it, a piece of chicken meat. Pretty damn simple, honestly. Certified, where is Nona on the calendar ranking? Also, the left use the power of governmental forces since the right-wingers don't want to be involved in the soul-crushing government. This obviously goes to Ninua. Well, yes, the right was of the principled opinion that the power of the government should not be used against their opposition. That was a mistake, as the left had no such restrictions whatsoever. And I think Ninua is still not on the calendar. The lowest number that is on the calendar right now, I believe, is Chrysalis at 280, and Ninua is at 203. So he's still not on the calendar, I'm sorry. Pokella 2, the McDonald's that Trump went to now has armed guards because of threats. Ah, yes, I should have mentioned that too. They've had to hire guards now, armed guards, because the leftists are threatening to attack it, to bomb it, to shoot at it, etc. The tolerant left. The tolerant left indeed, as the meme it is. Let's see, where was I?
Service guaranteed citizenship.
Scarfy, RTS, no one. Melissa Serrano, who cares about the viewer's time? Just walking corpses. Doom England, read that one, lum. Oh, is this where we were? Yes. Brendan, yeah, I didn't have a McDonald's on my 2024 bingo card. I said on Twitter, I'll say it here. This timeline may be stupid, but it has its moments. It does. Pocket Warren Plus, yes do, says, we've been saying for weeks, March, it's official, yes. Well, that'll be much video food. And then he scrolls.
Heresy's the question.
Stop
Fire
scrolling.
is the
I
answer.
please beg you. Scarf the Strange. Sucker for Love was a fun stream. I got to watch Arch react to worship of cosmic beings being portrayed as romancing waifus. And why shouldn't it be? Walter 1066, merge Lum Lum and Ariel. Merge Lum Lum and Ariel. Oh. But should I though? Oh, no. Ildirian, I'm going through every one of these Warhammer Conference videos and disliking every one whilst listening to Arch. I could also do the same to tank that algorithm. It actually boosts their algorithm. Even a thumbs down is engagement. The best way to deal with YouTube videos is actually just to ignore them. Wrath for the Lumi Fund. Also, in your war game, will there be a sci-fi rat faction? I think you could pull off a cool theme for them. There is no plan for a rat faction in my science fiction sci-fi setting just yet. Nor have I really considered it, so probably not. Probably not will be my general response to that. Dreyfus, I've always been curious how Franco's Spain was different or same when compared to Italy or Germany. Never really heard as much about him, even though he was the only one who survived past World War II. Franco was not an ideological fascist. He used fascism as a vehicle to get him into power. That's the main difference. Scarf the Strange, if you're voting on ponies, why not Tempest Shadow? 10 for Tempest Shadow. Best villain pony. Very well. Tempest Shadow. 10. I'll note that down. You should just be giving it to Starlight Glimmer instead, best pony. Ben, another excellent parody is The Great Dictator. It's a decent movie, but I don't know if I would call it a good parody. Christopher Stone, keep it up much. We need to stabilize and stop being so polarized. Your amazing voice of reason. Thank you very much. Sentinel Rex. These people are allergic to testosterone. It's the only explanation. Men must rise and take up their spiritual, biological, and mandated destiny. Yes, we must. And we are. It can take the form even of something so simple as yelling at people on Twitter. Scarf the Strange. They are zombies now. Give them the zombie mercy. Mean. Sentinel Rex. Actually, I feel more pity for this guy than zombies. Sentinel Rex. Lord of the Rings is chock full of masculine men showing the kindness with the firmness only men can muster to protect with the sword that which he loves. Absolutely. Absolutely, I agree. Robleg63. Oh, to be a space wolf, nothing but bro culture. Yes, bro culture and endless parties. Spoopers. Hi, Arch. My brother doesn't believe that humans are the good guys of Starship Troopers because it's satirical. So I'm editing the film to be in chronological order to see if he gets it then. Trixie. Trixie? God, fucking God damn it, Trixie on the card too now. God, okay. Alright, Trixie. The great Trixie. Right, there we go. Trixie. The great and powerful Trixie. I do like Trixie, yes.
Heresy's the question.
Why are you hating? It's too late for this man. Ready the Flamer. And hey, just explain to your brother, what is it satirizing? And then he goes, fascism. And then ask him, okay, what is fascism? And when he says militarism or wearing pretty clothes, just point him to the nearest Marine recruitment video, I guess. Scarfy the Strange. Chaos Clown Marines. I love it. Mr. Luckless, you must understand, Art. This guy probably looks at Dragon Age Veilguard characters and cooms his pants. His opinion on beauty is not to be taken seriously. I'm starting to understand it, yes. Scarfy the Strange. This guy would lose his mind over Necromunda. Probably. Sentinel Rex, author. Damn those stupid masculine space marines with their grotesque, strong, oily, sweaty, sexy bodies. I mean, a little bit of gay there, maybe. Lunar Legion fan film Astartes, yeah, not formidable at all, indeed. Dark Dragon Guardian, more like trying to explain to a monkey why the safety of humanity as a human is the topmost priority of all mankind, and the monkey argues back with shit and screeching. At the very least, it would be an accurate rendition of the conversation. Back in the seats, Arch VTuber are turning into Warhammer fans. It is your time. I do hope so. I'm sure I can educate some of them back into the light. Sentinel Rex. So, opposite of fascism is short, fat, lazy, cowardly, unmotivated, passive, and leans on the government. You may have to have a word with Dev. Oh boy. Oh boy, indeed. Marksman of 170B. Clowns. All clowns. They can't let anyone be happy. Miserable people. Also for the Death Claw, cause it will be funny. Keep up the great stream. Okay. Dick Girl Death Claw Waifu is now at $351 for some ungodly reason. You know, I'm beginning to see his point about beauty. Scarf the Strange, when the left have no enemies to fight, they'll make new ones out of you. No. They'll not make new enemies out of you. You were always the left's enemy. Make no mistake. The normal man was always the left's inherent enemy. It's just that they had more pressing ones to get to before they dealt with you. Human Tescourge, didn't the God Emperor meme start with the left-wing parade float? I don't know if it started there, but no, I think that was inspired by it. The float in Italy. I think that was inspired by the meme meant to mock him, and then everybody loved it, but I could be wrong in the chronology there. Elsa Sorana. Arch obviously has more power. He has right-wing brainwashing power that he uses on his viewers. I do that frequently. And Bob Boring Name. No, keep reading. There's only like 2 paragraphs left, and it's just waffling. It's fine. I'm not going to read the comments because I value myself too much. Zogskrog, do you think VTubers streaming Space Marine 2 are going to create a new wave of tourists? Yes, they will. There are going to be a lot more tourists in 40k, I guarantee it. And the best way to do it is to just, if they start being a tourist, shut the door in their face. And if they ask honest questions, answer them. Simple as. They bring in politics, you yell at them. They don't bring in politics and merely ask questions, you appease them and you play with them and pet their little heads. Scarf the Strange. They've exaggerated their enemies to hide their incompetence. Yes. Well, that is the fundament of all of the other. The enemy must forever be infinitely competent so as to remain a threat, and also infinitely incompetent so as to be easily defeated when rallied. When rallied against, more correctly. Constrained anachronism. Patriarchal, the Space Marines have tons of famous and celebrated baseline human officers like Lortara. They care about competency in baselines, not their gender. That too is correct. Bob Boring Name, Arch, to further tie up your time, 10 to Fallout London. I heard that apparently got better eventually. Scarfy the Strange. Isn't Witcher an Elric ripoff in a bastardized Tolkien universe with edgy retellings of fairy tales? Razorfist did make a pretty persuasive argument for that, yeah. I don't know enough about Elric to really argue myself, but Razorfist seems to think so, and if he does, I'm inclined to agree. Bob Boring Name, not even a sexy rat girl, unpaid workers. It's terrible. STMR, speaking of your universe, is the human empire actually xenophobic? Or they are just conquering the stars and anything in the way simply get removed? Oh, no, they're xenophilic. They love aliens. The humanity in my empire adore aliens. Like, they are all for diversity, they are. Oh, they are basically the Federation in that regard. The reason why they launched a genocidal campaign of extermination against the Gar was because other aliens told the humans that the Gar had occupied their planets. And so the humans were like, right, we've got to protect these weak, dumb natives. Wait, hold on. No, we gotta protect these noble natives driven from their lands by evil colonialist conquerors. By genociding their conquerors. And so started the first Gar-UEC war. Ismail Thompson, female Space Marines mean I go out of my way to print and steal from GW. An admirable idea, sir. Admirable in the extreme. And Bob Boring Name, Arch Feet for Calendar. No. Reese1 for $3. Finally, catch you live. I was wondering if you check your Reddit at all. Do I have a Reddit? I do not know. Recently sent you a DM then and would love for you to check it out. Funny as is, I got the same treatment you did in 40k sub for my heretical thoughts. P.S. You're my 40k arcanum. Keep it up. Thank you very much, sir. But no, I do not check my Reddit at all. Ever. I wasn't even aware I had one. So, yes. Unfortunate though that may be. Convincing reality. Arch, just so you know, there is unironically a
guarantees
article comment
citizenship.
that says all space marines are transsexual and not cisgender, all to rapturous applause. Of course there is. Why wouldn't there be? Because they're transhuman and therefore they're transsexual. Yeah, why the hell not? Why the hell not? It is the current year, and thus that is the reality we must live in. And now, chat, now I am hungry. And when Arch is hungry, he becomes upset, lethargic, and despondent. And you don't want that. You don't want a despondent and upset Arch. So he shall go and eat his pastries. That is what he shall do. Thank you very much for watching, chat. Thank you for your generous donations. And I do see that chat is overwhelmingly in favor of these streams. 97% out of 1,000 votes. Okay. All right. Well, I'll consider doing some more of them then when I've got long articles to dissect.
Heresy's
That is
the
going to
question.
have a
Fire is the
lot
answer.
of wandering off the point. What part of my outro did I do? That's a good question. I have been Arch. Thank you for watching. Thank you for generous donations. I appreciate you.
Heresy's
You're
the
fluffy little
question.
creatures that
Fire
live on the
is
internet.
answer.
And already the starvation is making my brain go weird. But boarding name. Yes, do it for Lum Lum. Also, Fallout London has been patched and bug fixed to hell and back. See, Lum Lum has already seen my feet pictures. Okay, hold on. Hold on a second there. I've already, there we go. Starbase. Ah, there's Space Haven. There you go. The official Arch feet pictures, as commissioned and desired by Lum Lum. She grew very energetic when I DM'd them to her. She quite enjoyed that. She's quite enjoying that indeed. And now, have a good day, my little rat bricks. Be fluffy or bricky somewhere else.